All right, you guys, we are recording. This is Pilates mat class, Wednesday morning. Welcome. Um, we're going to need kind of the usual complement of props, something to put between the inner thighs. Pardon me. Again, your little towel thing works fine. If you have weights, that's awesome, small hand weights, although jars of things work really well too. Okay. We're going to go ahead and lie back and right away put something between the inner thighs. So knees are somewhere upstream. And we'll start our breathing here. So once you've laid down, go ahead and have a couple of full breaths in, just relaxing into the ground. Ideally, we've got a neutral spine right off the bat, but sometimes it takes a couple of breaths to let tension leave the hips and the shoulders. And that process allows your bones to kind of fall into that neutral posture without a lot of effort on your part. Now you can put your hands on your belly if that's a helpful cue for you, or you can simply just lie back and rest. And we'll inhale through the nose. Feel the breath moving down into the space between the sitting bones. And then kegel through that same space and exhale. Feel the breath lift upward through the crown of the head. So down and up are relative, I understand. We're going to move the inhale down toward the hips. Kegel through that same space and exhale upward toward the top of your head. And ideally building support and connection through all points in between. Continue this. If your hands are resting on your belly, as you exhale, you should feel the belly wall dropping in without tightening up. Inhale when it's time and continue. That dropping in of the belly wall without getting tight or tense through the outer surface is a pretty good tell that you're actually connecting through the deeper layer of transversus rather than simply pushing the breath from the outer layers of muscle. Let's begin to use the inner thighs as well. You'll inhale and feel the surface of the feet, the soles of the feet spreading against the floor. Keep that sense of groundedness, and from it, on your exhale, begin to very lightly squeeze the inner thighs against the surface of the ball or block or whatever you're using. Inhale, and you can soften the squeeze somewhat. Feel the feet kegel. Exhale, and as you squeeze the ball more firmly, avoid tightening or tensing the belly wall. Inhale, soften the squeeze, and we continue this for about a minute. As you squeeze the block or whatever it is you're holding, feel an intensification of what's going on under the surface of the belly. Let's say we have 4 more exhales, feeling that connection, building it. Conscious of relaxing through the low back area and across the axis of the hips. Softening the interior of the chest and feeling a warmth widening side to side across the shoulder tops. That same warmth spreading and opening across the inside of the armpits. And now keeping that relaxed state through the body, we'll move into imprint and release. It's a movement of the lower spine that we do with our lower abs. Kegel, and from that grounding of the feet on the floor, begin to squeeze the ball as you begin your exhale. Continuing into imprint, bring the low back flatter or flat toward the mat, contracting the low belly inward. When you inhale, allow the pelvis to release to neutral, where you started from. Feel again the connection to the feet and the inner thighs. Kegel, exhale, and imprint once more. You'll feel initially that drop inward of the belly wall, and then a firming contraction now, this time through the surface as it scoops inward and backward. Release on your inhale. And please continue. I'm going to sit up and see what's going on. Do 2 more rounds of imprint and release. Good, you guys. On the last imprint, go ahead and remain in the position as you continue with the normal flow of the breath. We're going to hold this imprint position and not only reinforce the core connection via pelvic floor, but also feel a toning and strengthening effect on the lower abs. So now, still grounded through the feet, as you Kegel and exhale, squeeze the inner thighs and feel the belly drawing more close to the back of the pelvis. As you repeat this twice more, exhaling, squeezing, still an imprint, feel that internal connection drawing upward behind the navel. And with that final repetition of exhale and squeeze, feel that internal connection drawing up into the inside of the rib cage. The outside of the ribs soften around. And then inhale, soften the squeeze through the knees. Exhale, return to a neutral spine. Front of the pelvis levels right out. And without really any additional work through the abs, you just have a breath out that allows you to settle and soften. Now here we're going to go ahead and move the arms. So with or without the weights, you'll extend the arms forward toward the ceiling. And before we even start moving the arms, go ahead and push the shoulders forward and back a couple of times. So feel the steadiness in the position of the ribs and the ribs' relationship to the pelvis. And just simply glide the shoulder girdle forward toward the ceiling, draw it back toward the mat. In between those two boundaries of your range, you're going to feel this kind of sweet spot in the middle where you're not straining forward or back, and the arm bows just kind of sit into the shoulders. We're going to try and keep that easy middle position. And now on the exhale, as you squeeze the ball, reach the arms slowly back. Hold steadiness and posture without introducing tension into the neck or low back. Keep the reach, inhale. Now Kegel, cue from your feet as you squeeze the ball and exhale and return the arms. With the arms reaching forward to the ceiling, but the shoulders neutral, inhale, Kegel, squeeze the ball and exhale, reach the arms back. Hold the reach of the arms long through the sides of the neck, relax through your face, and exhale, return. We do 2 more of these, guys, with the same pattern. Kegel, exhale, and reach. Inhale, take the breath downward toward the hips. With your next exhale breath, return the arms forward. And on your own timing, pardon me, please do 1 more. Nice and long in that space between the rib cage and the pelvis. Bring the arms all the way forward and all the way down as we return. Rest the arms to the ground, release the weights if you're using them, and we'll continue with hip rolls. So now we work a little bit more definitively through the feet, the back of the legs, the inner thighs. We'll inhale in place. Cueing from the feet through the legs, exhale, begin to squeeze inner thighs and move through your imprint. Sorry, allergies. In your imprint, you might take another breath in and then exhale, push the ground down through the bottom of your feet as you continue to roll the spine up. Your abs are working to bend the spine, And your legs are working to extend the hips and stand firmly on the feet. At the top, you have that breath in, soften across the shoulder girdle, and then exhale with your Kegel, with your inner thigh connection, and begin to roll back down. And we're really striving to move sequentially through the spine. At the bottom, you'll return to neutral and continue through 2 more repetitions. And it's often the case that you'll need more than 1 breath to roll all the way up. That's a-okay. Pause when you need to inhale and continue your movement after you begin your next exhale. The last one of these, we're going to roll to the top and stay there. And once we're there, without any weights and without any change in our extended hip position, we're going to reach the arms back once more. Well, actually 3 more times. So with the arms forward to the ceiling, inhale and prepare. And then on your exhale, reach the arms back. Sustain the hip extension. Keep softening into the shoulder space. Hold the reach, and as you inhale, press firmly down through your feet. Kegel. Exhale, engaging inner thighs. Bring the arms forward. Now the hips are extended, and we're trying to stay open and long through the front of the pelvis. So use your glutes and your hamstrings for that. Continue into another extension of the shoulders, reaching arms back. Hold and inhale. Exhale and return, nice and steady through the legs and through the core. And 1 more time, please. The last time you bring the arms all the way down. Inhale, renew your attention on the feet. And then exhale, roll the spine down, consciously relaxing across the chest through the shoulders. As many breaths out as it takes to completely articulate through the spine. When you return to neutral, ditch that ball and just move your legs around a little bit, stretching long, reasonable. You might sway side to side through the knees. If your low back is healthy, feel free to do that. Might feel nice just to stretch the hamstrings a little bit. We're going to go ahead and do a spinal twist at this point. So we'll roll over to one side or the other. And I like the option of putting the block or something between the knees. You want to keep the hips steady. Something under the side of your head can make the shoulder more comfortable. The hips, the shoulders, the knees all start stacked. And then I'd like you to prepare for this by squeezing the block and kegling and exhaling. On your inhale, begin to turn the head upward and lift the top arm. Kegel, exhale, and feel the opening continue across the shoulders, through the chest, the ribs, the side of the waist, and keep the hips and the knees stacked. Inhale in your open twist. Start at the bottom of your waist from your Kegel as you exhale and sequentially return. And that means the arm and the head too, of course. 3 more times. Inhale, turn the head and lift the arm. And then exhale, spreading open from the chest, through the mid-spine, through the ribs, the bottom of the waist. Hold the open stretch, breathe in, Kegel, and exhale, return. Twice more, please. You're welcome to continue on your own breath pacing, of course. Each exhale is kind of code for connect your core, and eventually that becomes a habit. And when you've finished your last repetition, make your way to the other side. We set it up the same way, of course. So you've got a neutral spine, side lying with a little bit of support under the head, a nice stack of the hips and the shoulders, a little connection prop between the inner thighs. When you're ready to begin the movement, as you inhale, turn the head to look upward, raise your arm. Now Kegel, use your lower body with your core to stabilize your center as you exhale and twist open. We hold the open position and inhale. Use your core as you exhale and return. Like hip rolls, this is a sequence as well. As we begin this sequence, it's top down. And as we finish it, it's bottom up. And of course, we do 4 repetitions from this side as well. Good, you guys. When you finished your last repetition, go ahead and lie on your back again. Right, you get there when you get there. Maybe have your weights nearby. We'll be working in a tabletop position. And we'll also be working a little bit with that shoulder and arm connection to core. No ball this time. Just have knees bent. A neutral spine, you're resting back. Have a full inhale and an exhale. Not yet using the abs per se, but definitely using your core. Now layering the ab work on top of the core work, exhale and make an imprint. In your imprint, you might want to have a breath or two and feel that the back of your body, the outer surface of the spine, is truly settling back into the mat. So allow your body weight not to press back to ground, but to really relax into it and against it. And then keeping your imprint until I ask you to release it. Exhale, slowly lift one leg to tabletop. You'll peel the foot up off the ground and eventually lift it until you have a 90-degree angle at the knee and at the hip. Keep that leg there and exhale, lift the other leg as well, peeling the foot up, bringing it to that 90-degree angle. And then once both legs are up, go ahead and glide the inner thighs together like you're sliding them on a shower rod, or a curtain rod. Just sliding those inner thighs together and feeling them continue the line of your spine down through your feet. Just once, flex, and then exhale, point through the toes. Now keep that work in the toes, like you're holding a tennis ball under each foot. And with or without the weights, extend your arms forward to the ceiling. Now, same thing here with the arm reaches. We are going to use a 2-breath pattern rather than a 4-breath pattern. Prepare with your inhale, and then exhale, squeeze the knees, point the toes, and slowly reach the arms back. Avoid lifting the bottom of the ribs forward. Inhale in place, Kegel. Exhale, ooh, I changed on you. Exhale, return. We'll use the 2-breath pattern with the next one. That's what happens when your head gets into a rut. Exhale, reach the arms back. And as you inhale downward towards your hips, return the arms so that they're now pointing forward toward the ceiling. And we do 2 more. Exhale, reach back. As the arms reach, feel the breath moving in the direction of your crown. And then inhale as the arms return, feel that breath moving down the bottom of the hips through the outer surface of the tailbone. One more. Arms come all the way down. Put your weights off to the side. And then exhale and lower one foot slowly to the mat, sequencing through the toes, the ball of the foot, and the heel. When you've got that foot down, same thing, second side, through the point of the toes, the ball of the foot, the heel. Inhale, return through neutral, and exhale, stay there for a moment. Take a breath. Kegel, exhale, and make your imprint once more. On the next breath out, lift one leg to tabletop, pushing from under the foot and peeling that foot off the ground as you make 90 degrees in the knee and the hip. Do the same with the second side when you're ready. Don't neglect your Kegel, and do find inner thighs and foot tone as you come to that top position. Hands behind the head this time, please. And so I want you to think of this as merely an upper body stretch. As we stretch the upper body, of course, it's important to keep the imprint and to keep that feeling of length down through the bottom of the hips. So when you inhale and nod your head, feel like the back of the pelvis gets a little bit longer through the tail. And then exhale and bend forward. Inhale at the top, still taking that breath down through the bottom of the sitting bones. Kegel, squeeze the knees. Exhale, keep the toes pointing as you lower the upper body to the mat. Inhale, nod the chin, lengthening under the back of the pelvis. And then exhale, bend forward, stretching and lengthening through the back of the ribs. At the top, inhale, Kegel, exhale, and lower. 3 more times, please. Nod with your inhale. Breathe out and bend forward. Lower when it's time, using that full breath out as well. Last couple times. When you get to the point of lowering from the last one, please keep your focus on your imprint and on that imprint connection up into the bottom of the side and front ribs. On your next exhale, with your head on the ground, lower one foot, toes, ball of the foot and heel. And then exhale again, lower the second foot. Now keep your imprint for your inhale. And on your exhale, deliberately return through a neutral pelvis as you deliberately keep your Kegel. Hands stretch along your sides. Keeping your neutral low spine, inhale, nod the chin downward, open across the shoulder tops and chest. And then exhale, bend forward. Feel the bottom of the shoulder blades activating toward the bottom of the ribs and back. Inhale and exhale, lower. 2 more of these. Nod the head. Keeping a neutral pelvis, find your feet. Exhale, Kegel. Bend forward. Relax the top of the shoulders, the back of the neck, and find the bottom of the shoulder blades. Exhale and lower. And do 1 more, nodding and bending. Exhale, lower. And once you've lowered down, go ahead and relax for a moment. That might mean you stretch your legs right away. It might mean you pull your knees to your chest. Got some options there. We are going to change where we are in the mat so that we're rolling over and lying onto our front. So if you want to go there directly, you can. That reach of the arms and that activation of the bottom of the shoulder blades, we're going to use an extension. So we lie on our front. Get comfortable on the front of the hips. You want the pubic bones forward into the mat and the front or interior part of your hip stretching long. So there's no contraction or compression here between the top of your quad and the front of your pelvis. Point your toes, stretch behind your knees, and bring your inner thighs as close as they come without jamming your tailbone. We have arms down along the side, shoulders relaxing forward. Your gaze is square to the floor. Exhale just once here. And as you inhale, bring your arms up along your sides. You might lengthen through the throat, certainly open through the chest. And then exhale, get your core first, lengthen top to bottom, and move the bottom of the shoulder blades down toward the bottom of the ribs. That action should lift the chest. Inhale at the top and exhale to lower. When you lower, allow the arms to relax forward. We repeat 3 more times. Inhale, place the arms, point your toes, engage inner thighs and pull the legs long as you exhale and move the shoulder blades. Active through the bottom boundary of the shoulder blades, open across the top. Inhale and exhale, lower. Shoulders relax forward briefly, and you do 2 more repetitions. Inhale, placing the arms, and exhale, coming up. Sometimes this is called dart. You should feel like you've just been shot out of a cannon. Exhale, lower. Keep that sense of length as you return to ground. Do 1 more, please. Place the arms and open the shoulders. Find that neutral sweet spot. Come on up, activating the bottom of the shoulder blades. Keep your kegel as you inhale. Stretch longer through the toes and the hips. Exhale and lower. Sit back into a shell stretch, please. So deeply rounding through the bottom of the rib cage. Breathe in and take that breath into the sides and back of the ribs. You're enhancing your stretch with your inhale. And relaxing a little bit through your exhale. Have 1 more of these guys, please. Breathe in. And as you exhale, roll yourself up, stacking bottom to top, opening the shoulders, and turn around, face the other direction. We'll sit up now. Yay, hooray. And you might want a block or a ball. I'm going to use a block between my feet. Books work pretty well for this too. We're going to look at half rollback. So in half rollback, you are definitely starting with a neutral spine rather than a rounded low back, right? And sometimes when we round the low back, even within the flow of the exercise, it's more of a slump and I've kind of fallen into gravity. Yeah. What I would like you to do, and you can practice it while everyone's getting arranged, is to feel that same exhale support and length upward and then contraction backward through the belly wall. So it's a mindfully supported movement as you roll back. And then those muscles are already engaged when it's time to use them to roll forward. So a different exercise than just kind of falling and lifting. Yeah. So here we go. Arms are stretched forward. Open the chest and get your triceps. Inhale in place. Kegel, maybe squeezing the block or the ball if you've got it. Use your imprint muscles to move yourself back. Pulling the front of the pelvis away from the thighs and rolling the tail under. Stay here, and as you inhale, take the breath all the way down, pulling it long through the tail. And then as you exhale, begin to rise through your crown, to lift through your chest, to bring yourself forward to where you started from. Repeat, please. Prepare with an inhale, feel your feet. Kegel, maybe engaging inner thighs against the block. Exhale, roll back. Feel that point where it would be just easy to release into no effort. Keep your abs. Inhale and exhale. Use them as you come back up. 2 more times, please. The same. Exhale, roll back. And of course, as you move back in space, your shoulders go with you. So be wary of having your head and your shoulders forward as the rest of you moves back. After you've done your last one, relax for a moment. I know we're all on a little bit different tempo, and that's fine. As you catch your breath, you're going to relax your legs. Right. Relax your neck and your shoulders. And we are going to use that half rolled back position with some pulses here and some mindful connection upward into the ribs, pardon me. So this time though, put the block aside. Alrighty, so instead of arms reaching forward, we're gonna have hands either behind the thighs or over the shins. We'll exhale, and with our Kegel, roll back, same. Using an intentional movement rather than a casual fall. Right, no judgment there, falling is good too. But here, we're gonna try very hard to intensify both under the surface and through the outside of the lower abs. And on the exhale, pulse it back a little bit more, drawing the connection up behind the navel. So the work is a little bit more lifted. Inhale, come up a little bit. And exhale, roll back a little further. Connection drawing from low abs to behind the navel to maybe up inside the lower ribs in front and sides. And up a little. 2 more times. We exhale and deepen, rolling back, trying not to disconnect the pelvis from the rest of the spine. Inhale, take the breath down through the length of the tail as you come up a little bit. And then exhale. Now this time we stay back. You're gonna walk your feet a little bit closer and firm the connection into the bottom of the ribs. Peel 1 foot off the ground as you exhale. Bring that leg pretty close to the torso, and then exhale, lift the other leg. With the knees together, we're going to do 2 more of those pulses, connecting the whole height of your abdominal muscle area, rolling back a little bit. Inhale, and then exhale, roll back a little bit. And stay here. Now it'll probably feel a little wiggly and unstable. Reach the top of your head higher and bend more through the back of the ribs. We're going to use this as transition to the 100. So pointing the toes, squeezing the inner thighs, using your biceps. Roll down, keep your head lifted, bring legs to perfect tabletop, and then extend the arms and begin. 5 inhales, 5 exhales, getting longer through the back of the hips as you breathe in, getting longer through the crown of the head as you breathe out. Continuing here, we're almost at the halfway point. We probably have 6 more sets. Trying to not bob the head, but to keep a steady position in the curve of the spine. And of course, you can modify with the head down if you're feeling this more in the neck than in the belly. At the end of all of your 10 sets of 5 inhales and 5 exhales, breathe in nice and smooth. And then exhale and let yourself lower to the mat. When your head is down, exhale, put one foot down and then the other. Release to neutral spine. Oh, and stretch out long for a moment. Now at this point, we're going to do a one leg circle. I'm going to modify because I don't have enough room for a fully straightened one leg circle. And so I'm going to be doing this with my moving leg in tabletop, and that's just fine. You can also do it with the moving foot on the ground as you make your circle. That would be hip release. And you can also, if you have the space for it, use flex band or maybe an old pair of tights, right, to support the leg as it circles. Yeah. So I'll give you a moment to grab that. And then we'll lie back and have the knees bent. In a neutral spine, have a breath in and a breath out. Because we are leaving one foot on the ground or not moving, we're going to stay in our neutral spine. Exhale and lift one leg or one foot off the ground, making tabletop with that single leg. Make sure that you haven't brought the pelvis into a tilt or a twist. We're still balanced here. And then that foot that's on the ground, you can stretch the leg long or keep it bent, your preference. We're going to start in the internal direction. So having prepared with an exhale, we'll inhale and move that single leg across the midline. Exhale, circle it down, out to the side, and return to where you started from. Inhale, begin your motion, Kegel. Exhale, continue it, relaxing your neck and your shoulders and retaining neutral posture. 2 more in this inward direction. Inhaling across the midline, Kegling, exhaling, firming the core without restricting the movement in the hip. Then we go the other way. So on the inhale, now the leg moves out to the side. And on the exhale, you circle it down, across the midline as you start to bring it up, and finish where you started from. 4 total, so 3 more, please. Inhale and exhale. Use your Kegel more than your neck, yeah? When you've done your last one, hug that knee. Bottom leg can be bent or straight at this point. You might open it out to the side here a little bit. And then you can take it across the body just a little, allowing the hip to lift a little bit and stretching the outer part of the thigh and the glute, maybe even the low back. And then return. Both feet flat, both knees bent. Neutral spine, have a long exhale here, bring the support imbalance into the posture. And then on your exhale, new leg comes up. Bottom leg straight or bent. Same sequencing. Inhale, leg across the midline, Kegel, and exhale, circle. 4 total, please continue. That's it, you guys. After the 4th one, you'll reverse, still starting with the inhale as you bring the leg away. Exhaling to complete the larger part of the circle. Using Kegel as the foundation of core, rather than trying to stabilize from the bottom of your neck or from the gripping of the shoulders. And when you've done your last one, of course, you can give that knee a hug in, allowing the leg to open out to the side, getting a little stretch through the interior of the thigh. All right, and then when you've done that, bringing the leg across, either with or without lifting up that hip. And that's kind of your choice. You do what you need to do in that regard. Beautiful, you guys. And then foot goes down, both knees bend, and you roll off to one side or the other to come up to sitting. We're gonna do a simple spinal twist here. And I know with the one we did from side lying, it was a top down and then down up. Now it's gonna be the other way. So when we twist, sort of quick and dirty here, you're gonna start at the bottom, twist a little here, middle abs, upper abs, and then return. So it is sequencing upward from the core as you move into your twist. And then of course, just reversing that sequence as you release. So I'm gonna see if I can have room for my wings here. We have your arms outstretched. If that stretch of the arms is not feeling so good for your neck, then you can bring hands together at the center of the chest. Either way, you want to feel those bottom of the shoulder blades nesting onto the back of the ribs, supporting the bottom of the ribs in front with a connection upward from core. We prepare with an inhale that moves down. On the exhale, begin at the very bottom of your waist to turn. Exhale again and feel the connection moving upward behind the navel, turning more. Then exhale again and turn until you're at the end of your range without skewing your shoulders. And then inhale back to center. Other side, Kegel, exhale from the bottom of the waist, begin your twist. Exhale again, keep building that connection upward. Exhale that final time, move toward the end of your range. And inhale back through center. Please continue this. You've got that three sections, or that exhale divided into 3 bits, so that we can intensify, we can strengthen, and more importantly, that we can lengthen. Finish the round you're on, and please do one more in each direction. Sorry, I'm just checking my chat window here. When you've done the last one, lower your arms, relax your legs. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and lie down onto our backs and do another extension. You can use your block or your ball between your knees. It's going to be a hip extension again, and so you'll probably not want to have anything under the back of your head. I have my little block here between the knees. And then when you've laid down, we're going to go ahead and put a neutral posture into the spine again. This time, have one hand on the low belly and the other hand on the low ribs. So you want to feel a couple of things. You want to feel that the notch at the base of the ribs is more or less centered side to side. You might rock a little and do that. You want to feel that the pelvis, same, you can shift a little there. So your navel and the midline of the pelvis are centered. And all of that is one consistent line up and down, inside and out. Have a breath in, feel your feet against the floor. Pause here, Kegel, and from the feet begin to squeeze the block and just stay on the ground and feel that internal connection build, zipping up from the bottom of the pelvic floor to the inside of the ribs. Now, the next time you do this, we're going to extend the hips, not bending the spine, but simply opening the front of the hip joints. Inhale, Kegel, squeeze the block, and exhale, press the hips up. Now, of course, the angle of the ribs to the shoulders is going to change as the hips and the rest of the torso lifts. Don't fight that. Inhale, gaze forward, eyes open, press the feet down. Kegel, squeeze the block, and exhale, lower. Steady from the shoulders toward the hips, posturally, and steady in the support internally through core. Again, please prepare at the bottom with an inhale that moves downward. Exhale, squeeze the blocks from your feet. Press the floor down. Allow the hips to float up. And eliminate the tension at the front of the shoulders and the sides of the neck. At the top, inhale, Kegel, squeeze the block. Exhale and lower. Please do one more with the block between the knees. When you finish that, put your block off to the side. Now this next bit, we're also going to free up the hip a little bit. So we do this either from an extended shoulder bridge position or modify with hips on the ground. So for instance, if you do your shoulder bridge and you find that as you pick one foot up, you're unable to stabilize your posture in any way, and I'm exaggerating, then you're going to want to either A, support with your hands from below, or B, leave your hips on the ground. Yeah? So we'll try this first one, and I'll give you a moment to take a modification if you need one. Prepare with an inhale, Kegel, connect to your feet, and exhale, press your hips upward. Once the hips are up, you're going to put your focus and attention into the bottom of one foot and see if you can lift the other foot from the ground, eventually extending it upward. If you're okay there, continue to work here, but if you need to support or lower the hips, do. We're going to flex this lifted foot and exhale, lower the leg. Point and inhale, lift. Exhale, flex and lower the leg. Inhale, point and lift. Two more. Down on the exhale, lifting on the inhale. One more down. One more up. And then from the top, bend the knee. Exhale, put your foot on the ground. Inhale, stretch your hips to where they should have been all along. And then exhale, lower. Have a breath. If you need to stretch your hamstrings, you can do that. We're going to do the other side, of course. So inhale, Kegel. Exhale from the feet, lift the hips. Take your attention to the new side. We're standing on this new foot. Feel it plant. Find the inner thighs. And then on the inhale, extend the other leg upward. Keep the extension of this hip working under the back of the thigh. Flex the top foot and exhale, reach it down. Inhale, point and lift up. 3 more times, please. Working from wherever you're working. So of course, if you're on the floor, if you've got your hands supporting your pelvis, all of that is a good idea if you need it. That's it, guys. Once you've lifted that leg up the last time, you will have inhaled to do that. Then exhale, bend the knee. Reach the toes for the ground with both feet on the ground. Inhale, lengthen, reaching through the hips. And then exhale, lower to the mat. Good, you guys. Stretch out long, please. and roll over onto your fronts. So there are lots of ways to work your obliques. That kind of an exercise where you're holding a steady posture against an alternating position of the appendages, right? In this case, the legs, is a good way to work those obliques in concert with the core. We're going to do that again from our face down position. So rest your forehead on your hands. We're simply going to be lifting the legs and exploring that ability to hold steady as we eventually take it into a flutter kick. Yeah. So we're stretched out nice and long. The front of the hips are completely extended, the back of the knees the same. We already feel a little bit of work in the glutes and in the thigh muscles to hold the extension of the lower body. Take a breath in, your head is resting down. And on the exhale, both legs working as one unit, you lift the thighs up. Now just trying it out for this first one. Inhale here, stretch longer through the back of the hips. Kegel, point your toes more, stretch behind the knees and connect inner thighs as you lower legs down. One more exactly the same. Prepare, Kegel, exhale and lift. Holding here, inhale, and then exhale and lower. On the ground, have a moment here to breathe. The next time we lift up, we're going to hold the lift and for about a minute, do a flutter kick. So prepare with an inhale, stretch long through the hips and legs. Point your toes, get your inner thighs, and exhale, lift your legs up. Still balanced on the front of the pelvis, the pubic bones are forward into the mat. We begin a slow flutter kick, trying not to bend the knees. Eventually, that flutter kick can change in tempo. You can explore the range of it. And if I set your coffee cup on the back of your hips, it shouldn't spill. You're steady through your center. It's the legs that are moving. Got about a half minute more of this. Keep breathing. 20 more seconds. Stretch further, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, reach. And exhale, lower. So go ahead and soften this out and sit back into shell stretch, please. We'll have about, I don't know, a half minute or a minute or so in shell stretch. And so once you've gotten the essential position, if you like to, you can walk your hands over to one side and get a deeper stretch to the opposite side. And if you've done that, of course, you're going to want to do second side the same. All righty. Eventually return through center. And then go ahead and come up to hands and knees. Okay. In hands and knees, we're going to do our knee hover. So very much like push-ups, I often refer to that class of exercises, and very much like shoulder bridge. This is a little bit, actually a lot more work for the arms than shoulder bridge, but it's essentially the same in principle. I like to use a block between my knees. You'll want to tuck your toes under unless that is just not possible for your toes. And if you like, you can be on your fists. We have a neutral spine. Have a breath out here and feel like through both ends of the spine, the bottom of your seat and the crown of your head, you're pulling in opposite directions. Make a lot of space inside and strive to keep that space as you now exhale. Dig down into the toes, squeeze the block, and float the knees up just an inch or two. Nice and steady in that neutral shoulder position. Inhale, Kegel, squeeze the block, and exhale, lower the knees gently. Prepare again, and then exhale, engage your core, hold posture, lift your knees. Breathe in, nice and open across the shoulders. Kegel, exhale long through the sides of the waist and lower. Please do 2 more. Prepare with a breath in. Exhale, dig into your core, float your knees. Find your triceps, open your chest, release your neck and jaw. Exhale, float it back down. Now the last time you do this, make sure you're not looking at your kneecaps. Look at the space between your index fingers. Come on up, not dipping the head. Inhale here, different this time. Exhale, lower halfway until your knees are just almost kissing the surface of the mat. Breathe in, open, reach the chest forward. Exhale, pull the hips back and lower the knees down. Get rid of the block if you've got it and sit back again into shell stretch. Now this time in your shell stretch, if you want an additional little something something for the shoulders, you can come up a little bit and thread one arm under the other and have a little twist. And then of course, if you've done that to one side, you're going to want to do it to the other. And I want to be clear that the twist is in the waist and in the shoulders. It is not in the pelvic halves. It is not in the legs, right? We're taking a fair amount of care in not twisting or destabilizing the pelvis. Go ahead and come on up and turn around and sit. We're almost done. You guys are troopers. We're gonna just briefly do 3 repetitions of, it's called neck pull front prep. Really, it's like a half rollback that adds an additional intentional stretch through the upper spine. So we got our knees bent. We can have a block or not. Maybe I'll put the block between my feet now. And your hands can be either at your forehead or behind your head, so long as you don't push your head forward. So if you feel like this is going to happen at any point, this is probably a better position for the arms. We'll take a breath in. Kegel, squeeze the block, be aware of your feet, and exhale, start to roll back. You go about halfway, and at that halfway point, inhale downward through the point of your tailbone. And now we're going to do an ab prep forward over ourselves from the bottom of the ribs. Exhale. Curve the spine like you're trying to touch your forehead to your knees. And continue to roll forward until you're on top of your sitting bones. At that point, Kegel, inhale, roll all the way up to your starting position. 2 more, please. Kegel, exhale, roll back. It's your half roll back here. You're still long and supported through the upper body, still square through shoulders and head. Inhale, and then exhale, bending through the middle spine. Your chest will move forward. Your forehead dips toward the knees. You continue to roll forward onto your sitting bones. And then inhale up. 1 more, please. Exhale, roll halfway back. At that point, take a full breath in. Connect to your core, your Kegel. Exhale, bend it forward. Get a nice stretch from the bottom to the top of your spine. Stack yourself up and then release your arms down. Okay. We are going to finish with our roll up and our roll down. Just 2. and use it as an ending stretch rather than as something to rev our motors. So you might want to have your flex band. You can use, again, a ratty old pair of tights or an old pair of yoga pants. And we're going to stretch the legs out long. I'm going to have that block between my feet again. Block. I'm going to loop my tights over the bottom of my feet. We're going to roll all the way down and all the way up. And so we are going to use our arms and our biceps a little bit. We're going to try hard not to destabilize neck and shoulders. Take a breath in. We'll do this incrementally. Kegel, exhale, squeeze the block, and roll back through your imprint. Feel those lower ab muscles really drawing the pelvis away from the toes. Take a breath, and now exhale. Work that connection to the abs right behind the navel, bending that part of your back. Now exhale a final time. Bend more deeply through the bottom of the ribs as you continue lowering sequentially. Push through the soles of your feet and allow yourself to lay all the way down, resting the head, gaze forward to the ceiling. Inhale, nod. And then exhale, begin to bend at the bottom of the ribs. Allow that action to lift your head and your shoulders. Get the abs behind the navel as the ribs lift off. Keep the imprint until it's time to release. And then roll forward and stretch over the legs. Inhale up. And do one more, please. Kegel, exhale, imprint muscles. Now we're using the inner thighs and we're pressing the back of the legs down. Keep reaching the soles of your feet, and bend more deeply through the spine. Keep lowering, grounding through the back of the legs and releasing with control into the floor. Lie all the way back. Inhale, nod your head, and then exhale, bend forward last time. All the way over the legs. Inhale up. Put your flex band off to the side. Bend your knees. Sit for a moment and just have 3 rounds of breath. Inhale, feel the breath dropping all the way to the bottom of the hips. And then relax those hips and exhale, float that breath up behind the navel, bottom ribs, center of the chest, underside of the jaw, through the crown. Twice more. And then eyes open. Exhale in a sigh. And you guys, good work today. We are done. I'm going to stop the recording and try to get that up on my YouTube channel.